Welcome back. Now we're back to Lagos from Ekiti, and we're going to be looking at the spirit of Lagos. It is a group of Lagosians, people who reside in Lagos, who came together to seek ways of restoring the good old values that made Lagos great and made Lagos tick. It's a non-political, non-religious, and non-gender-based group, and it is asking other Lagosians to join it in any way that they can to make Lagos a better place for all. It's my pleasure to welcome the project director of the Spirit of Lagos, Olani Omotosho. Good morning. As well as Professor Abolade Adeniji of the Department of History and International Studies, Lagos State University, Ojo. Good morning. Can you please, what led to the initiation of the Spirit of Lagos? What was it about Lagos that you saw that you were not too happy about, that made you decide to bring back the Spirit of Lagos?
Thank you very much. I think some of it is nostalgic in a way. Growing up in Lagos and remembering what it was like at the time to be a kid running around doing your thing. And over the years, see how things evolve and see how people have, that homogeneity is almost lost now. The common values are almost not there anymore. And you see this trend increasing by the day, and you sit down and wonder, is this the way it's always going to be? Is it going to get worse than this? Is anyone going to help us?
Don't you think it's all part and parcel of being of Lagos growing into a mega city?
Growth is one thing, character and identity.
Those are other things.
Other things. It's important. You don't want to grow to the point where you lose the best things about you. And that's really is the concern, was the concern at the time. And the different groups of people looking at this differently. Those who have lived through Lagos, like I did, who are concerned, okay, am I going to pass on and live Lagos like this? And there are some who are watching everything change in their time. I'm like, okay, and they're saying to themselves, are we helpless? Isn't there something we can do? And there are those who hear all the stories. Oh, Lagos was this, Lagos used to be that. When do we get to experience a Lagos that sounds like the Lagos my father is talking about? So all these three groups of people were dialoguing at the time, and we felt it was time to do something about it.
Okay, Professor Obono unfortunately could not make it here, but I was just reading some of the things that he has written. He said that the average length of stay in Lagos by a resident was 20 years. This indicates that Lagos continues to be an attractive city for settlers and investors. What is it that keeps people in Lagos? Because I know that when I was growing up, they used to say in Yoruba, but I'll say it in English, the lizard of Lagos lives in Lagos.
Yes.
Alangbaeko. So what is it that keeps people in Lagos? The spirit of Lagos?
Well, okay. Now that you mentioned it, what is the spirit after all? Okay. But seriously, I think by and large, if you look at it historically, Lagos, well, some 200-300 years ago, was a small fishing community. Then, of course, the slave trade came, and it became a commercial entrepôt, commercial center. And what that means is that it drew people. Then, of course, as the years went by, you know, slave trade stopped. Legitimate commerce, as the British called it, was introduced. And once the British came and took over Lagos, that's another story entirely, bombardment and all that, and then the Treaty of Cession. Once that came in, Lagos became even more important and vital, you know, within the, you know, this emerging milieu called Nigeria. And of course, once Lagos became the commercial center, and of course later the industrial center, what it simply means that it drew more and more population. First, after the abolition of the slave trade, deportees, well, not deportees now, returnees, excuse me, from Sierra Leone, Brazilians, that's those that came from Brazil, brought back and all that, came back. And Lagos was the place to stay. Of course, also as a corollary, we found that people in the hinterland here means, well, other parts of Nigeria also came. And as they came, the population increased. And the attraction, to answer your question, is that this is the place, land of opportunities. So the attraction never ceases, and it continues even till today. That's why the working figure, population of Lagos is, forget about the INEC figure, the population census figure. The working figure is between 15 and 20 million, and it's growing by the day. So what is it that attracts people? The boundless opportunities, the allure,
So the American,
the vibrant life.
the proverbial American dream lives in Lagos.
In a way, you could say so.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
And then I must stress this: Lagos has been a land that has been open, taking in people from all over and providing opportunities for them to blossom.
Okay.
Mr. Motosho, if Lagos is the most vibrant commercially in Nigeria and it's taking in people, it will tend to draw the good, the bad, and the ugly. Because everyone sees Lagos as the place of opportunity.
Absolutely.
So this, if you want to make money, this is where you come to. Not even Abuja, where we understand more money is being made. Lagos is the place.
Yeah.
So it is attracting the good, the bad, and the ugly. So don't you see your task as an uphill task?
No question. We do, and we are not under any illusions whatsoever that this would be a walk in the park, But the important issue is Lagos has always been a land of opportunity. But with those opportunities in the past came responsibility also. Everybody understood that they had a responsibility while going about to make money and living a good life. They had the responsibility to give back to society. They had the responsibility to relate well to their neighbors, to raise their children well, to do the right things so that you preserve the place that you're taken from.
Mr. Motosho, I don't want to kill your enthusiasm, but I must tell you that growing up in Lagos, in central Lagos at that time, some people would put their tray of wares in front of their houses and they wouldn't even tend them. You would go there, take what you wanted, and put the money in the tray.
Absolutely.
So I don't mean to discourage you, but those days are not coming back.
Well, we can look at it like that, or we can also look at it another way and say, what can we do to bring some of those things back?
Okay. Now,
It's
tell
a
us,
journey.
what can you do to bring some of those things back?
And the
What is the
first place-
spirit of Lagos doing?
We got to some point where we realized that in order to tell a story, in order to bring what we're saying back, we have to be able to present the information in a way that people can understand. Because the numbers you quoted earlier on, the average age of people
34.2, the average age, and the fact that people stay 20
20
years.
years.
And
So
In and
put
out
those
of the
two
average.
together. This is a younger generation. What you and I are talking about goes back 30, 40 years maybe. But someone who is the head of household came in here only 20 years ago, never experienced some of these things. That's why we sought Professor Adeniji and said, look, help us bring back some of these values. Let's reenact them and represent. These are facts. Lagos used to be like this. We're not making this up. I'm sure when you tell some of those stories, people think you're making them up. So let's bring all this back. Let's tell those stories in a way that people can relate to, and then see the next stage would then be, how do we then model those behaviors of the past? Whether we like it or not, there are still people in this Lagos, and we get those stories every day. People who are still genuine, they're still honorable, still doing good things. They might be here and there. But those are the stories that we gather together and presented along with history, that these people never changed, regardless of what happened in society.
I would ask both yourself and Prof this question. And just looking at part of that report now, it says as many as 80.6% are happy to be living in Lagos and will not consider living for another city.
Yeah.
Now, I remember some years ago, there was this report that said the Nigerians are the happiest people in the world. And I'm wondering if 80% of the people that were polled in this report were from Lagos. What is it that keep people so happy in Lagos, in spite of the madness that you experience sometime in the midst of traffic, cursing and swearing and everything, but people still get out of it and sit down and have a bottle of beer?
All right. It is the spirit of Lagos. I'm sure Prof can go
Prof,
into
please help.
more detail about that.
Well, don't discountenance those figures. The truth is this, that you ask the average Lagosian, would you rather live elsewhere? And the answer you get is, no. Forget it. And then you ask yourself, you complain about the traffic. You say your work is stressful. And then somebody is saying, let's transfer you to Oshogbo so that I can have peace. Say, no, I'm not going to any Oshogbo, I'm remaining in Lagos. You know, I mean, if with this not to disrespect Oshogbo in any way, I'm only saying that people want to be here. I remember once I read an interview where Chief Rashidi Gbadamosi, if I got him the words right, I'll just paraphrase. The man said, look, the longest I can live this chaos called Lagos is just 4 weeks. I just must return. And I guess that it is like that for many of us. It has
Likeable chaos.
Yes.
Yeah, it has its pull. You know, it has its attraction. It's not easy, you know, to describe, but that's why we call it the spirit. This is just the place.
So how are you getting your message across?
Well,
Okay.
In the first place, like I said earlier on, history is a major part of this. And we're reenacting history in different formats. We're doing docudramas. And let me mention here first that there's a very interesting docudrama coming out next month. We don't have the details of where or how yet, but this is one that traces history, traces music and entertainment from the 30s up to today. And some of those musicians who played way back then and understood what Lagos meant to them are still alive today.
Well, he's passed
He
on.
just passed on, but we got him too before he
Okay.
passed.
Oh, fantastic.
So a lot of those people are still alive today, and we're able to get them. And the message they have to pass down the line. It's not about music alone. It's about what Lagos offered them. In fact, one of them, I wouldn't mention his name so I don't give it away, he said, this is where you come to get your authenticity. Lagos has to endorse you first before you call yourself a musician within Nigeria, West Africa, and mention the names of all the people that came from all over with their music and all that. But things like this, that's the very first part. We reenact history. The docudramas are like 30 minutes long. The day in the life will pick a citizen who has done extremely well, continues to do great things in society. We follow them through a day in the life of a citizen, just for inspiration. As there are citizens' minutes, just 60 seconds shots about individuals, those kind of things. We put them in there, everybody sees it. The second part is behavior modeling. There are people out there, ordinary people, regular people, that you would think because of their social, economic situation, they have reason to complain, they have reason to be mad about everybody, yet they still find the inspiration to do the right things. Those are the stories we need to be telling,
Okay.
so that other people will learn from them.
Okay, we have to wrap up now, and let me ask Prof, how receptive are people to the message of the Spirit of Lagos? How receptive are they?
From the feedback we have received so far, okay, we've seen that if, for example, you go to the website, you should just follow the conversation and see the reaction. Now, this is not going to be an event. It's a process. Changing attitude is not something you achieve overnight. The point we are making is this, that many of those who live here also, of course, have their own, original community. But the point is, there are 52 weeks in a year. For 50 out of these 52 weeks, you live in Lagos. Then during Christmas, you take your children there, they stay for 8-10 days and we return. If that is the point, then recognize that you have a stake. Recognize that this is where you spend the bulk of your life. At any rate, note that unlike those days when people grow old and return home, we are beginning to have a situation where people say, I'm not returning home again, I'm staying here.
This is home.
This is home. That is what Lagos is.
Okay.
And if that it is what it is, then just do your bit.
Okay.
to
Do
make it okay
your
for everyone.
bit,
Okay.
especially as Lagos is now a mega city. Every person needs to do their bit. Otherwise, we soon won't be able to live here if everything is just left to go down the drain. If every man does his bit, we'll have a better Lagos. That is the message of the Spirit of Lagos, and we've been discussing that with Professor Abolade Adeniji of the Department of History and International Studies of the Lagos State University, as well as Mr. Olaniyi Omotosho, who is a project director, Spirit of Lagos. Thank you both for coming.
Thank you very much.
And telling us about the Spirit of Lagos.
I think I'll be adding my bit to the website, spiritoflagos.com. I will go and find a bit where I can put comments and some of my experiences.
I invite you to make a pledge. You can make a pledge. This is what I'm going to do. And it would amaze you to see the pledges people have been making.
Oh, wow.
It's so inspiring.
I will not
we'll
throw
go.
litter on the street.
Oh, great. Great. That's a great start.
Thank you very much for coming.
right.
Thank you.
Sunrise will return in just a moment. Please stay with us.